So today I want to help you to understand the signs and the signals that it takes to know what is the best eating regimen for you and what to look out for if your body is communicating in a way that's giving you the warning sign. A lot of people don't pay attention to this. We often listen to other people talk about what we should eat or what we should not eat, but we forget that our bodies will let us know also. Now, before I move forward and help you to understand the food items that are more problematic for most people and some of the signs that can let us know, I want to first say, please like this video and subscribe to my page. I will continue to get information out to you to live your highest quality self. This is what I love to do. And so I would much appreciate, again, if you would click the subscribe button to my page so that you can get the notifications when I have released a video for you. All right. So again, many of us, we tend to do a lot of research, and that's fine too, because we want to know what works and what don't work. I'm huge on research. I have to see what's working for the majority or not, and kind of do different case studies to figure out different avenues to healthy living, because we all have a different biological makeup. All right. We all have a different baseline even, and we need to pay more attention to our own baselines to know what affect us, what does not affect us, and what could potentially help to create a better outcome for our health or not. And so these are all things that we really need to be looking into. And then also we have to recognize, how far are we away from our normality? You know, a lot of people have what you call metabolic syndrome, and a lot of people can be very unhealthy. So they need a little extra attention on making sure that they come back to what's supposed to be baseline for them. And so all of these different changes, like, you know, whether or not we are super stressed, you know, if you're more stressed than somebody else, your body's going to respond a lot differently. Are you getting enough sleep at night? Does your body utilize too much insulin? Are you releasing a lot of cortisol in your body? What is your genetic makeup? Are you in a disposition in certain areas? Do you have certain things that are on your bloodline that could potentially make you more susceptible to certain diseases? Is your body a lot more likely to build muscle than somebody else's, or is it not as likely to build muscle? Is it hard for you to burn fat, or is it easy for you to burn fat? Are you underweight or are you overweight? Do you have high blood pressure? Do you have low blood pressure? You know, all of these different things matter, and you need to know yourself, because again, your body speaks to you and tells you, you know, what things you should be doing based upon how you're feeling. And I'm going to run through some telltale signs that your body is screaming stop or give it a break from something. Okay. So what I will say is that one of the greatest telltale signs that you probably should not be eating something you're eating, and I will let you know some of the, again, things that cause a lot of people a lot of problems when it comes to eating, but your body's tummy will start to talk to you. That's right. Your digestive system will tell on itself, because certain foods that hit your system and gets processed in the intestinal area will start to give you signs that something's not right. Now, a few different food items that a lot of people seem to have complications with would be wheat, and I would just say gluten also, because gluten involves wheat, barley, rye. So I'll just say gluten, but that does include wheat. Also dairy, also spicy foods, too much fiber a lot of times. That could be in the form of beans, legumes, you know, vegetables even. And also like fried foods can cause problems, mainly probably because of the vegetable oil that you're using. And processed foods are always going to cause a lot of problems to people just because they're processed. Also, other foods that can cause problems would be artificial sweeteners, alcohol, and even caffeine for some people if you're doing too much. Now, there's a question about how much caffeine you should have, but that could also be determined by the person, because, for example, some people might say, I can drink caffeine up into a certain time, like 4 p.m., and it does not interrupt my sleep. Whereas somebody else say, nope, I can't do caffeine past 12 p.m. or else my sleep is going to be affected. Those are things you should really notice, like how much caffeine should you have. And I'm not suggesting that anybody has too much caffeine, but some people need very small amounts, even smaller than, the average that somebody else can handle. And then also how late you can take it before it starts to disturb your rest and your mood. Now, these again are things that you have to be paying attention to. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't pay attention to stuff like this. And so I just want to really bring it to your attention so that you can start watching out for some of these signs. Now, I said that the tummy is usually the problem. So when you start experiencing things like gas and bloating and constipation that includes like pain and strain, then that also becomes a problem with constipation. And also diarrhea. These are all gastrointestinal signs that something you're eating is causing some type of inflammatory response to your body. And you want to pay attention to that and start to eliminate those foods if you're having any of those reactions. There's other reactions that you can have, like acid reflux, low energy. If you eat certain things and all of a sudden you have low energy levels, you need to pay attention to that. And the thing is, people don't really pay attention to stuff like that because they're hooked on like energy drinks and shots and caffeine and all of this other stuff. So this is all like normal living for them. And it's all just connected and combined that they don't even dissect it apart to figure out what's actually causing me to be tired. Is it the quality of sleep I'm getting? But then is the quality of sleep I'm getting connected to certain things that I am consuming or certain lifestyle habits that I have on a day-to-day basis? So we have to pay attention to all of these different things. So like I said, acid reflux and also cognitive problems like mood or not being able to focus good. Like certain foods can cause this also to happen. And a couple of other things could be a reaction in your joints. You're starting to feel more aches in your joints, and certain foods can actually make you have more pains in your joints, like for example, vegetable oils. These type of harmful oils can cause an inflammatory response to even the joints in your body. Another thing that you want to pay attention to are like migraines and headaches. Like sometimes certain foods can make you get a headache because of the response from the food, or there might be an underlying issue going on in your body that's causing constant migraine or headaches. You have to be cognitive of these things, because if you're not, then you'll go years with ignoring it and doing the same things that's causing damage to your body. And eventually something chaotic or big winds up happening. And then you start putting the pieces of the puzzle together and understanding why you were having these problems in the first place. So I don't care if the food you think is super healthy, you need to pay attention to how it affects your body. Like I remember eating a protein bar that was full of superfoods. It seemed to be healthy, and I was looking at all the ingredients that were involved and the amount of sugar that was involved and all of that. And it was a pretty solid food item. And because I enjoyed it so much, I didn't even pay attention to the fact that it was causing my tummy a little bit of heartache and pain. Until one day I realized that certain amounts of dairy in my system was causing some uncomfortableness in my digestion. And so I started to pay attention, and I read the back of it, and I think it included a little bit of dairy, or that it was made with equipment that included dairy, I think. And I think that that was actually the problem as to why I was having a response. Now, some people will ignore it because they just love what they're eating so much. Like you're eating fried foods and you love it, but it causes you some problems after you eat the fried foods. And there's some ways you can have alternatives to this. Like if it's the vegetable oil that's causing the problem and you do want a little fried foods here and there, then you can deep fry it with like avocado oil, for example. So there's some ways to try to tweak things and see, does it make you feel better? I know often a lot of people will eat certain breads and they think that they're healthy. And honestly, you want to be very, very careful because of the wheat that's in bread. And a lot of people have gluten intolerances that they just don't even pay attention to, because when they're eating their pancakes and their waffles and their French toast and all of their amazing breakfast items that they love so much, they can tend to ignore some of these signs and symptoms that's letting their body know, hey, we have a problem here. So I want you to start paying attention to this, whether or not you think is healthy. Do not be affected by that, and don't let that cause you to ignore things just because of the advertisement of it, the marketing of it, or if you feel like it has healthy ingredients, they still might not be healthy for you, including certain vegetables that have oxalates in it that disturb some people's digestive tract more than others. Pay attention to that, because you might be eating and thinking this is a healthy salad or this is a healthy kale salad, and you might have some kind of gas or some kind of response after, but you might think, oh, this must be something else I'm eating, because you have counted out the fact that, you know, this vegetable is deemed as good. And so I want to help you with this, because what it does is it allows you to have an understanding of your biological makeup and what affects you. It's not healthy if it bothers your body. It's not healthy if it causes inflammation to you. It's not healthy for you. One thing that could be healthy for somebody else may not be healthy for you, but you have to pay attention, and the vice versa is true to that. Now, of course, we do have some systematic things that I just believe are not healthy for anybody, like an overabundance of sugar. For example, if you are just eating way too much sugar in your diet, I think everybody's pretty much going to be affected by that at some point. Maybe not at the same time or in the same time frame as the next person, but at some point you will be affected if your body is overusing insulin. Okay, so there are some standardized things that I think apply to all of us, but then there are some separations and some variances. And again, you have to pay attention to how you feel, how your body feels. And that's why it's kind of hard to always be super strict with arguing just one direction. I do think there are some directions that help with the majority. So I tend to go in that direction because I deal with the majority of people who are struggling with chronic disease. So there is pretty much some standardization with things that need to be done to help reduce inflammation and help to reverse and prevent chronic disease. But at the same time, I also understand that, again, people have different baselines and they're dealing with certain things in their life that require a different direction. Some people require more extreme measures than other people. And so all of that really do have to be considered. Okay. Now, I want to make sure that I also say really quickly that if you are, say, somebody who understands that, okay, too much sugar is really damaging my body, then it is good to do some sugar alternatives. And I do want to just, briefly say that so that you don't turn to the wrong artificial sweeteners. And a couple of the artificial sweeteners that tend to really damage people's bodies a lot is actually aspartame and sucralose. And so just be on the lookout for those two artificial sweeteners, because it can just cause a lot of damage to people's bodies. And I know a lot of people tend to go in that direction because it replaces the sugar for them and it makes the food item taste a little bit better to them. And they do cause a lot of problems. Now, I just want to share something really quickly and then I'll end. I can't really overstress how important this is, because I've been down this path before. I remember on, I believe it was New Year's, one time I tasted some gumbo. This was a very long time ago. And the roux in the gumbo had me feeling a certain way the next couple of days. And I didn't identify that it was the roux from the gumbo, which is the flour part. I didn't identify it until I did it, I think a year later again on New Year's, where there was gumbo cooked and I ate it again and I had the same response. And it was like this response of like feeling lazy. My mind wasn't functioning well. I just felt like I wanted to procrastinate. I did not feel good. My energy was drained. And that's when I realized like that all the certain seasoning and the roux and all of that just wasn't doing well for my body. So I even pay attention to certain seasonings that affect my body. And I know one seasoning that is not good for you is MSG. That tends to do some things that alter brain chemicals. And I can tell you firsthand that I feel the effects because I am very aware of these different changes. So I can't stress enough that you have to pay attention to how you feel and how your body is responded. And you're going to have some amazing aha moments when you do that. Now, I hope you like this video and that it brings some level of clarity and instruction for you to start really paying attention to how you're feeling and paying attention to these food items that can cause problems so that you can get your health back on the path that it needs to be. Make sure again that you like this video and that you subscribe to my page so that I can continue to get information out to you that is going to really empower you to make much healthier decisions for your life.